Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge.
After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort.
No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips, get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today. You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit gearhandle.com and use promo code H2O today.
Coming up on the Payoff, Jayson Williams and Mike Gminski probably been in each other's laps for more than 30 years. In 1991, when Jayson came into the NBA, he joined the Philadelphia 76ers, where Mike Gminski was the mentor, the veteran. 30 years later, after Jayson had experienced his own tragedy and had gotten sober, Mike Gminski was experiencing his version of tragedy. And when G-Man hit his bottom, Jayson was there to help him rebound, literally. Rebound Institute in Florida is saving the lives of people who need the help and want it. It's outdoor adventure therapy, and it's just pure joy talking to G-Man and talking to Jayson Williams about sobriety. We know Jayson's story, right? That's not what this is about. This isn't 60 Minutes. This is a program about recovery and where people are today. And where Mike and Jayson are is in Florida, helping other people stay sober just like themselves. These guys are hilarious together. Jayson, known for his big personality. It was just like, for me, such a trip to talk to these two guys. And at the end, I got a little emotional. I was a kid hunkering down watching them play every night for the Sixers. And Jayson, I watched him play a lot at St. John's. And here I was talking to them about sobriety. At the beginning, just to catch up, we talk about Lou Carnesecca, Jayson's coach at St. John's, a father figure to him. Just an all-time historic basketball coach. It's enough out of me. Let's get to my man, Kevin Souza.
My mistake, give it to New Jersey. And Jayson Williams slams off the inbound and then pushes Rodman.
I start my day, Pete, at about 3 o'clock. And then I'm in the gym at 4:45. And so I got to wait on these guys to get up. I just called Coach Carnesecca at 8:15. And he goes, "Who died?"
Oh, no kidding.
You know? And he goes, "Oh, it's Jayson." He goes, "You probably already got 5 hours." And I go, "Yeah, Coach." So I keep in touch with all those guys. Matter of fact, I just got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
I bet Coach Carnesecca is so like proud of you, because I would imagine.
Oh yeah,
you guys
he tells me all the time I'm his favorite. Chris Mullin hates to hear that, but it's the truth. It is the truth.
See, I grew up as a kid. I grew up right outside Philly, so
okay.
I was a big Villanova guy. So you were on my radar. I grew up watching you play in Villanova and with the Sixers, and I worked for the Sixers for a little while. I did PR, so I worked for Jimmy Lynam.
Man.
I was there when Cheeks was a coach, and
right.
Jimmy was always just real cool.
Yeah, Jimmy's the greatest. Here goes the greatest. What up?
Hey, G-Man, what's happening?
It's all you, brother.
Oh, dude. I really appreciate you guys making the time.
Oh, no problem. We hope we save some lives today.
That's what I'm talking about. And G-Man, I want to give you a thank you first. So Jayson, I do TV news here in Texas, and I do play-by-play stuff for ESPN. And G-Man hooked me up with a buddy of his, Rob, at Raycom, and I had a great talk with him. And I've gotten a couple football games this year, Mike. I did the Baylor opener, and I'm doing Oklahoma State this coming weekend. So we're moving and grooving.
Yeah, I'll give you my address. 10% will be good, Pete.
Jayson said it was 8, and he gets the other 2. Yeah. All right, so I don't want to take too much of your guys' time, but I want to start with your guys' journey together. I was talking to Jayson, Mike. I grew up a Villanova guy, and of course, I'm a Sixers fan. You guys both were on my radar. Jayson as a college player, Mike as a pro, and here we have, it's 1991. Jayson, you get drafted into the NBA out of St. John's, and you show up to play for the Sixers. And what is that environment like? What was that team like?
Well, first of all, let me tell you something. I got my first autograph from Ed Pinckney, Gary McLean at the Big East tournament in Madison Square Garden. And I watched them play, and I was like, I am going to Villanova. And then I was like, well, I might go to UCLA. Until I found out that UCLA was a university, the corner of Lexington Avenue, and Villanova wasn't in New York City because I thought if you play in the Madison Square Garden, like you have to be in New York City. When I found out it was outside of Philly, I was like, oh no, it's just way too far for me to leave my parents. But as far as I didn't know where Villanova was. When they drafted me to Phoenix, I wasn't going there. A funny story was not too funny. I guess it could be funny now. But when they drafted me, they told me that I could go anywhere from 5 to 25 because I had a broken foot. But my dad was there at Coach Carnesecca's in his office, and we did go to the garden. So every time the number 5 would come out, they drafted Mark Kessler. My dad would be, yeah. I mean, no, that ain't me, Dad. He's like, don't worry about it. You be next. Number 9 come. Blasey. Don't worry about it. Jay, you be next. And then I did a double take back, like on number 20, when they still didn't pick me. And I just went like this and then went back to my father telling my mother, see, I'm going to be laying bricks the rest of my damn life. Ain't nobody ever going to pick him. That's a true story. And then I heard from my agent that I'm going 22nd to the New Jersey Nets, where my dad lives in Newark. We work in Newark, so it was going to be great. I'm staying home, and then the Phoenix Suns picked me. And I was like, Phoenix Suns? And I'm not going out there, nothing but some driving pickups, no teeth in their mouth, having blah. And oh my God, Pete, oh my goodness. They had it on the big Tron up in Phoenix. And all the people that came in were watching it, like 20,000 people, and they started booing me. Ooh. And even today, 20-something years later, I still go to Phoenix, and they still lose my luggage.
Was that a draft day trade that got you to Philly?
No, I just held out. They were like, well, we're not going to trade you. And they finally just said, this guy is for real. He's not coming to Phoenix. And they ended up trading me to Philadelphia, which brings us to your original question. So you were like, I'm not playing in Phoenix, which, by the way, guys had started to do, whether it was football. You saw John Elway did it, would say, hey, I'm not going to play in Baltimore, so don't even bother drafting me. And organizations were starting to, it's like the beginning of player empowerment, right? Organizations were starting to realize these guys aren't screwing around. Right. I was definitely not playing around. I was definitely, I lost 3 sisters. So I'm very protective of my parents. I don't tell everybody this, but I tell you, Pete, that I slept with my parents when I was 15. Not that I was scared, but just scared that something might happen to them. So as far as leaving them, that wasn't going to happen. And then I get traded to the Philadelphia 76ers, coming from St. John's and Lou Carnesecca, where before they put the rule in, we practiced for 6 hours. 6 hours a day. He was 90 then, So he had nowhere to go. And adopted 2. My sisters had died, and I adopted their kids in college. And so when I finished up with them at St. John's, and I got drafted and then traded, my dad, I said, Dad, we're going to have to go to Philadelphia. Well, it's closer than Arizona. And the first person I meet is G-Man here. And they assigned G-Man to me. I'm assigned to G-Man.
Mike, you're shaking your head.
Yeah. So he's the first person so you got Charles Barkley, you got the rest of the team, Pete, and then they get this wild kid from New York, and you can see, G-Man, put it like this. He's been down south too long, and I'll let you tell him some of the story, but I don't want to take up all the time. But
no, Mike, what was your first impression of Jayson?
Well, first of all, Pete, one of my great pleasures in broadcasting is working with Tim Brando. He's been my main partner. And Tim is very loquacious, so I have to fight. And I'm used to being here in a non-speaking role, which apparently I am today as well. But yeah, I mean, Jayson coming in was like he was like an unbroken colt, with so much talent, so much enthusiasm. We didn't see him all that much his rookie year down in Philly. He kept going back up to New York all the time. And the thing he's talking about when back then, when rookies hadn't taken over the league and hazing was still, something you did, every vet got a rookie in training camp, and they had to bring them newspaper and coffee, and we just run little errands for us. And so Jay we had him moving around a lot his rookie year. And actually, to that story, we should have had a t-shirt made up that said "You'll be next" in the draft. But it was, those Philly teams were my favorites of the teams that I played with in the league. Such a great group of guys, and and Jay we had Hersey Hawkins. It was an older team though. It was a veteran team.
Mahorn still there?
Yeah, Mo got traded. Johnny Dawkins was there, I think, at that point. And but it was a little tough environment for Jay to come into. It was older guys, were married, but tell a funny story. I had the great pleasure to meet his dad a few times, and he came down to Philly. His Rick first told me this afterwards. His dad went over to him and he said, why don't you hang around G-Man a little bit more and less around Barkley?
Yeah, my dad was in South Carolina, and everything was plural for him. He's like, look, leave Charles alone. You need to leave Charles alone. Leave him alone. He said, mess with the G-Man. The G-Man is where it's at. That's a true story. So he put me under his wing, Pete. But what ended up being is that I ended up really living in New York. People thought I was living in South Jersey. I would actually, when the game was over, be in New York, drinking and carrying on until the wee hours of the morning, and then getting a little rest and coming back for the games. And that really set me back for at least a season. And because look, you play for Coach Conasecca, you go to practice, then you go to study hall, and then I had my children I had to watch, my sister's kids, which I adopted. So it was a lot of things we had to do with structure. I remember asking G-Man after practice, which was only 45 minutes, and I was like, was this the warm-up? He's like, no, this is it. I go, what do we do now? Charles Barkley said, we go to the bar. Right? And I was like, what? And this is a true story. So I played with Charles Barkley for 2 years. I love Charles Barkley, one of the greatest human beings ever, got the biggest heart, would give you his shirt off his back. But when it came to practice, I literally would go out all night with him and then couldn't understand how he can get 25 points and 20 rebounds every night after being out all night. It's because we had to practice. So he'll come in and he had this thing for McDonald's. He'll take a hot cake and he'll roll it up with syrup and butter and sausage and roll it up like this and put a Diet Pepsi there and get on the stationary bike and roll like be pedaling a half a mile an hour and be like, run the floor. And we'll practice run. I said, run the floor. That's why we can't win no game. And Pancakes will be spitting out his mouth.
Well, Pete, and I will say this, that, I love Charles, and he's been such a big help to me in my recovery. And but of all the great that I knew in the NBA, he was a terrible practice player. I mean, Jay is not lying about that. But we used to be able to embarrass him into practicing like 75% of the time. And we had a guy named Derek Smith who was a kind of a leader of the second team. And Derek would get into him, and we'd get the best out of Charles. But there were just sometimes that just wasn't happening. Jimmy Lynam would say, all right, just go over and ride the bike, just, get out of our way and we'll go and do our thing. But great teammates. And, all those guys, and the guy I'm sitting next to, we're still close. Rick Mahorn and Johnny Dawkins is down here at UCF. And, it was just, Jimmy Lynam really was a great coach in developing a team. And we're still close today.
Yeah. Yep. Spoke to Jimmy last week. Jimmy is the best, because it wasn't for Jimmy, I should have been out the league with all the shenanigans that were going on in my life at the time. I definitely wasn't focused. And,
how did you find the focus, Jay? Because you turned into an exceptional NBA player. How did you go from the guy in Philly that was living in New York to the guy that's signing a huge contract with the Nets and is one of the more colorful guys in the league?
Well, what happened was they found a secret source, and that was they called Coach Carnesecca and they said, look, we can't do anything with this guy. Only time he can do anything is when we get him really angry in practice, and then that might be dangerous because he can get really physical and we don't want nobody to get hurt. They said, what do we do? He goes, they said, so my dad said, what you do is he don't like to get embarrassed. So what you do is have people come to the practice. And then when they come to the practice, he going to play hard, and then that result in the game. And then my father started coming to the game, and then my father moved in with me, and then he said, a house. The boy, you got to start dribbling with 2 hands. You better start bouncing that basketball. You said, because you're going to need to maintain this house. You're going to need to, fund this house. So, and so he kept building the house bigger and bigger. Ended up being like 30,000 square feet, so I can keep playing hard. And as long as they had my dad and they found out I didn't want to disappoint my dad, then that's when everything turned around for me.
Pete, and being around Jay, and I can tell you that there are 2 men who are by far the most important men in his life, and the way he talks about him. First, his dad, EJ, and Coach Carnesecca. And I can't think of any other guys that he's spoken of more as being an influence in his life than those 2.
Yeah. Well, look, I mentioned Coach Carnesecca and Jay lit up like a Christmas tree. And I do want to say this from a sobriety perspective. Usually we do this audio, but to be able to see the 2 of you guys next to each other, and you were just radiating, you're just glowing. It's a beautiful thing. You feed off each other like we do in this whole recovery thing, and like you guys are doing in Rebound. And that's kind of what I want to get to. That's the meat of this. Mike, go back to the NBA. You get traded to Charlotte that first year. And do you keep in contact with Jayson at all, or do you just play against them?
No, we played against each other and really kind of lost track. I mean, he got into some fights with J.R. Reed and teammates
in Charlotte. Okay, yeah.
Let me tell you this story, Pete, before you go any further. No. It's my first NBA start ever. They trade G-Man, right? And Manu Bol is hurt, and they go, Jay, you're starting today. Now, understand something, Pete. I have not played more than 5 minutes probably in my career, and now I'm finally starting. Right, so I'm like, all right, let's go. Like I'm like, Charles, whatever we need, we're gonna win this game. And G-Man's down in Charlotte, and I start, I run out, and at halftime we're down 47 points. 47 points. So now my mind is gone. So I'm like, no more basketball. I'm back to the Lower East Side. So let's fight. So J.R. Reed, who's a great player, great person, he comes running by a locker room. He's playing for the opposite team with the Hornets with Mike, and he runs by a locker room and he goes, let's beat these bums by 50. And I was like, what? So my deflection, which we would do, right, with deflect.
Right here, Jayson cut out a little bit. The other player he was talking about, his teammate involved in this fight, was Charles Barkley. I'm
like, get in the game, just take the ball, run J.R. Reed over, and then I'm going to work on everybody else. And he was like, all right, let's do it. So him not even knowing, that Jimmy Lynam heard us, the coach, I didn't even get in the games the second half. They didn't start me because Jimmy Lynam was like, no, I heard what you said. You're going to stay on the bench. So this is how important I'm to the team. He don't even notice I'm not on the floor. So he gets the ball, and he runs J.R. Reed over, and J.R. jumps up, and the Hornets jump up on him. I'm on the other side of the bench, all the way 94 feet away. And he's looking at me like, where are you? On the court. I'm like, I'm over here. So I have to run the length of the court to get into a fight, which was like the last straw for everything and everyone.
So the end of the story is they did make some inroads. I think we beat them by 30. Yeah, I mean, Pete, I played, and then I was broadcasting when Jay was playing up in my alma mater with the Nets, and but we didn't really stay in touch after that because in 2002 the Hornets went to New Orleans, and I switched over to college basketball broadcasting, and I've been in the ACC for 20 plus years now, so I really I didn't really call Jay. We didn't have much interaction at all until July 14 of 2020, when my life really turned around.
And by this time, Jayson, your life is turned around, and you've started Rebound in Florida. You basically hit the ground running. And Mike, COVID hits. We've talked about it here on this podcast. I was so lucky to have the opportunity to talk to you about it, and you shared with me the story. You have tragedy in your life. COVID hits. You're holed up right in your place in Charlotte, and you're just boozing nonstop.
It was the perfect invitation for me, Pete. You're telling me that I have to stay in my apartment. I can't go out, and I'm drinking. Boy, this is great. I don't have to. I just have to get myself a handle of vodka every day and sit there and watch TV. It was the perfect storm. And fortunately for me, and at the time, unfortunately, my son Noah is witnessing all this, and he gets to the point where he's like, Dad, he said I have to help him, and he had the intervention with me, and found out about Rebound, and they put a computer in front of me, much like this. And I see people down there, and they're like, hey, we love you, we want to help you. And there were other people in my life who were on that intervention as well, sitting there with a glass of vodka doing the intervention.
Yeah, whatever gets you there.
I'm in.
We'll get back to this conversation in a second, but right now, a word from our sponsors.
As if the McCrispy couldn't get any better, Bacon and Ranch just entered the chat. The Bacon Ranch McCrispy. Available at participating McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
The all-new Chevy Colorado is made for more. Stacked with the latest in-vehicle technologies like a class-leading 11-inch diagonal center touchscreen and an extra-large wireless charging pad. Plus, it features wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility to make staying connected easy wherever your adventure takes you. Chevy Colorado. Made for more. Learn more at Chevrolet.com/truck/Colorado. Claims based on latest competitive data.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in. And, the whole circle of life thing that Jay came to me as a rookie, and I came to him in the worst possible shape of my life. And I was begging him to save my life, and he did.
Jayson, what was
God?
Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
Through the grace of God, we saved Mike's life. And Mike came down, and he was in some rough shape. I remember trying to get him out the car. Woo, man!
They told me to drink on the way down, so I did.
Yes, he did. And I remember Mike just telling me, and this is what I was so intimidated. The only person that ever come to Rebound that intimidated was Mike, because I said, Mike used to tell me what to do. Now I'm going to have to tell him what to do. And I'm explaining to our staff, our relationship, and then, we're up and go program here. So we're outdoor adventure therapy. That's why we're out here. Everything goes on outside. So, we're skydiving, scuba diving, horseback riding, kayaking, paddleboarding, we're yoga, Everglades soar, hydroboarding. We're doing everything, basketball, pickleball, racquetball, everything outside. So, and I went up to Mike. I was like, Mike, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Mike was like, and what does that mean? What does that mean? I go, you got to get up. We go to the gym first. And then, and he was like, bro, are you kidding me? And he starts yelling, and I go back out. I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And Mike comes, he calls me back. He goes, Jay, come back. He goes, I know you don't give anybody a break down there, and this is why I want to be here. He says, but I need about 2 or 3 days, and then I will be your best teammate. We don't call them clients down here. We don't call them patients because I'm in it with them. I'll be your best teammate ever. And that's what we did. And after the 3rd day, Mike started going, and now Mike's got 2 years and
20. This will be 26 months tomorrow. Matter of fact.
Gosh, yeah.
And that's true fact. And and Jay was talking about the things down here that we do, and the essence, to me, the intervention therapy is the essence of what we do. And I remember in the intervention, I'm like, well, what do you got? What is it? What do you do? And he says, well, you know what, this, that, that. And he said, and we go skydiving. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, I'm in on everything, but there's no effing way I'm jumping out of a plane. So my second 30 days, I'm like, if they wear me down, I'm like, all right, let's go. And you know what? I did it. And it was the most liberating thing that I've ever.
Well, hold on. Before we get there, Mike goes the first time, and Mike's been drinking. After, you need more than 30 days. So when Mike, now he's sober, he's losing weight, he's getting out, he's acting. Let's say that. And then we go skydiving. The guy goes, you have to be under 270. And Mike wasn't under 270. And Mike's competitiveness came out. NBA came right out. And he's like, when's the next time I can go? And they were like, Mike, you can go in 30 days. And Mike must have dropped, what, Mike, 30 pounds? Yeah. About 30 pounds in a month to go skydiving. Here goes a man who did not want to go skydiving, had the perfect excuse. I never know how you could drop a tank out of the air with a parachute and not Gminski. But Mike went in the gym, picked it up, started going 100%, and he hasn't looked back since. And, he got to the plane, he jumped out, and like you said, he just said that was one of his most liberating.
But the thing is that, and what all these things do down here and did for me was get me outside of my comfort zone.
Right.
And they build self-esteem, I got to believe.
Yeah, and well, when I got down, I mean, Jay could tell you, I was so full of adrenaline. I was calling people, telling them that I just skydove for the first time. But I was looking up at the clouds saying, you know what? If I could do that, I can do anything. And that really cemented my resolve to remain sober. And I still do that. I look up in the sky and I remember that day, and it stays with me. It's such a huge part of what goes on down here, getting you outside of your comfort zone.
What's it like? And Mike, go ahead, Jay.
Well, I was going to say, Pete, like right now, you're on the couch, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't beat down any other program because this is tough. We only take 5 people in a month, 5 people, starting 5. I'm used to them numbers. It fits nicely in the SUV and when we're going places, because look, on the way to skydiving, and it's just like a school, right? Well, you don't learn much in school. You learn most of the stuff on the school bus or the subway to school. That's when you learn the cool kids in the back. Those are usually going to be in treatment or they're going to be in prison. The kids in the middle are usually going to stay in the middle. Kids in the front are going to run the world, right?
I've never heard that, yeah.
They're not having nothing to do with the middle or the back of the bus. So on the way there, we lay into each other around there. A lot of competitiveness comes out, and Mike is ticked off about having to do this, but he's doing it. Anxiety is going, and we're telling him, hey, Mike, and he's like, oh, and I'm like, yo, be careful, because if you go this way, that's Okeechobee Lake. And there's gators in there like 6 feet, and the wind is gusting.
Yeah, and there's one of our therapists here went out, and the main chute didn't open for him. They had to go to the auxiliary chute, and they told me that story on the way out.
Oh my gosh!
And then they're looking at that one. I will tell you one thing: when I got up in the plane, I was calm and I was ready to do it. But also, you talk about the NBA thing. When you're getting ready to jump, you have to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, so you're ready. And I was damned if I was going to be landing in that plane to face these guys. I was jumping at that point, regardless. But that's the tone that they set down here to get you past those things.
And Pete, like you're sitting there on your couch, right? We really can't get to know you or any other program when you're sitting in a room for 10 hours a day. You really don't get to know that person. You get to know them when you got to get them in the SUV on the way to the airport. They see the small plane we're putting on the parachute, or we're going to the bottom of the ocean, or we're getting on a wave run at 60 miles an hour, or we're getting on our horses here. You get to really see the person because they're out their comfort zone. They're going to do 19 different activities in 1 month you most likely have never done. And taking you out your comfort zone, look, I have, and Mike, we're not comparing, I'm identifying. I have a disease that tells me I don't have a disease. And I have the only disease that you can go to jail for. So me and Mike understand that. Our team understands that here. And, so we only have a short period of time to work with you. So this energy that you see right now, it's been going since 4 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
And it'll go on until 9 o'clock. And Mike will tell you this. Look, every once in a while, I'll forget my phone or my keys or something. And I'll come back and because I'm going, let's go do this. Let's go do that. It's 8 o'clock at night. Let's go do this. And everybody's like, man, we're tired, Jay. So I'll come back in and you'll never see 5 adults pretend like they're sleeping. Always sleeping.
I will tell you one thing, Pete, to add on to that. He does forget a lot of things, but he does not forget teammates. And the other thing, I knew I was in the right place when I saw how they cared for people after they left here. Because you don't leave it. There's a follow-up. Every day there's a follow-up. And that's the other magical thing about this place. It's not just 30, 60 days, see you later, cut the check. You're a teammate and you're a teammate for life here.
Oh, yeah, you're an active member of the roster, Mike. I mean, you're down there right now working. And the cool thing about this is you have opportunity. You're a national broadcaster. It's not like you're somebody who's like, I got nothing going, I'm doing this. Like, you're choosing to do this because you get a lot out of it, and obviously, it's way worth your time. And I think that's so cool.
Well, and when I talk with Jay we're both very open about our stories. We have a platform to use. When I got into sobriety, I wanted to control the narrative. I wanted to get out and speak about my story, help other people like Jayson started with Rebound down here. And now I'm lucky and humble and grateful enough to be a part of it, to use that and to represent and try to help other people in their path like I've been helped.
Mike, I want to ask you one thing real quick. When you are back, you hit the road again to start doing games, right? So you're back and forth from Rebound and you're traveling. How were you received? Because you were out there, you were public with how Jayson had helped you and how you were sober. How was that?
I've had more people come up to me and ask me about my journey. Social media, I don't pay a lot of attention to. So I'm sure there are people killing me out there saying I'm a drunk. But, for the most part, the people that I interact with are very positive. They have family members who have issues. I've referred some people down here to Rebound to, help them on their path. I'm talking to people on the phone, family members of guys that I played with. The response to me has been overwhelming, and I'm so very fortunate for it. And Jayson has taught me how to deal with that, how to teach people, how to reach people, and it's been invaluable.
Pete, let me just tell you to add on to that. We've had over 300 alumni come through the program. And like Mike said, we speak to them every day. We have a video messaging app. Somebody has word of the day, and then we all have to respond. So just like this, there's no email saying, oh, I'm sick today, or there's no voicemail or text. We actually get to see you. And it's like the Oxford modality. The alumni run it, and it's just professionally managed. But let me tell you something. We are, a program where we're very confidential. So a lot of people that come down don't want their names out there. And hopefully they do when they leave, and they most likely do. They release that stigma. Because look, unfortunately, if you have cancer, you go get chemo. And if you're an addict, you come get treatment. And one of the things that I've never seen down here in the 8 years we've been doing this is all the fan mail that Mike got. I don't even know the address. Mike was getting so much stuff from Duke, and I'm not talking about, first of all, I got a special call, and the call was from, Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, when you hear that, David Stern was my guy, but I'm like, Adam Silver, kind of, if probably didn't feel too good about me because me and David were so close. But then Adam called me and was like, I got somebody special coming down for you. I couldn't figure out what was the connection, and then I kept giving him everything from Granny Hill to the young guys to Coach K, everybody, he was getting like 35, 40 letters a week. And I was just like, holy cow. So I looked over at a guy who, one of the owners of the Marlins who went to St. John's. I go, hey, we got Mike Gminski here. You went to St. John's with me. I go, I went to treatment. I ain't got one letter. I said, we got to do better at St. John's. Oh, goodness. Well, I should have never said that. They gave me such a role at St. John's to help with the alumni. I was like, and it's just not like, I would never look. This is St. John's today. I never go into my St. John's. These are for the net colors of St. John's.
Hey, Pete, that's a hat.
My bad on this. We were on Zoom, obviously, and at this point, G-Man flexes his muscle and shows a Duke Blue Devil tattoo.
That's the real investment right there, okay?
That's commitment, baby.
Brotherhood. Right
Yeah.
there.
That is a bleeding Duke Blue.
Anybody can get a hat.
Yeah.
So what we did was we went and hired his AD. That's the first job we did. We hired Duke's AD, the assistant AD, and we brought him up here, Mike Craig, and we was like, hey, man, help us be like they are down at Duke. And, they're just the brotherhood they have at Duke is just unbelievable. And it's just, it's to have that support and just to see Coach K call every day. Oh, I didn't even know Adam Silver went to Duke. Did you?
I did, yeah. But you reminded me. I'd forgotten when you mentioned it. Yeah. Now I put it together.
My head, I'm like, wow. Because when we played Duke at the Garden, I never understood how is there
more Duke people than St. John's?
Right.
Yeah.
How in the John Wayne's asses there more people for, at the Garden for Duke.
Remember Jay said the guys at the front of the bus run the world?
Oh,
we all sat at the front of the bus.
So Jay, what was it like for you when you get those calls from Adam Silver? You're helping a lot of people now. What is it like for you to be on the other end of those calls? I mean, you are constantly, I don't want to say putting out fires because you're really giving people opportunities, but right. I imagine you're getting calls all the time, calls you're not talking about. Right. You're an outspoken guy, but I'm sure you're very humble in this regard.
Well, sometimes you're putting out fires, but most of the time you're trying to get that fire back into people because they have given up on life. And one of the biggest things that give me peace in this world, Pete, is when people can depend on you. So, being a coach in the NCAA would be nice, but when somebody calls me and says, hey, Jay, can you take care of my loved one? I care about my kid. I care about my mother. I care about my daughter, my son. Then they send you their most precious, and they're depending on you. And that's what brings it out in me. I don't know if I can do that as much as I love St. John's and the Big East. I can do that for a game every day. Every day here, I got to bring it. I got to bring it because somebody's life's on the line. And guess what? Mike's saving my life. This place, Rebound, is saving my life. So I'm here every day, 7 days a week, because I choose to be. This is a society that I have built through the grace of God. We go to church on Sundays. We have Curtis Martin, who teaches a conversation here with us on Wednesdays to keep us, on track with the Bible. And look, that guy right there, up there, makes all this happen, makes all this go around. We have the psychiatrists and psychologists and all these other guys. But really what it is it's the passion. We call it, nobody says we're going to work. Nobody checks the clock here. It's the passion we're going to every day.
Talk to me about a day, like walk me through a day at Rebound for people who are curious. They're gonna just like a college recruit. They're gonna put their loved one in your hands.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the difference. At Duke, they're not gonna tell you the truth when they come to recruit. At St. John's, we're gonna tell you the truth. All right, so you're gonna get up early here. You're getting up early. There's two buses, right? One leaves at 4:44, and the other one leaves at 7 a.m.
And they go to the gym.
Right? Yeah, go to the gym. So you go to the gym, and then we all go to breakfast together. After breakfast, you come back for about 15 minutes. You get whatever we're doing. So if we're going scuba diving that day, you're getting your suit, you're getting everything ready, you're going scuba diving. That would take us from around 10 o'clock to right around about 1:30, and then we have lunch. And now we all lunch out also. So we're still out, right? And then we get back in probably around 2:15, and at around 2:15, they got about 45 minutes to shower, and then we start our groups. And our groups are outside. Everything is outside because, look, sleep deprivation is a big reason you and I do what we do, right?
Yeah.
We get sleep, we try this, our tempers are short, we don't, you got to regroom it. It takes 66 days to break a bad habit. So we like to keep them here. But then after group and after individuals, I went to a place that individual 30 days, you get individual every day. So we really work at it here. And then in the evening time, we cook here, we eat here, we order out here, we stay here. But one of the things is we don't keep you in the bar. After 30 days, you just seen this place and you haven't been in a restaurant. You haven't been. So what happens when you haven't been in a restaurant? As soon as we drop you off at the airport to go back to your family, to make sure that environment is safe, which we go up and we check to make sure that the family understands what we're bringing back to them and how to deal with them. You get to the airport, the first thing you smell is beer. Your flight today, you start, and what we do here is we make sure it's real life. So we're driving through the bad neighborhoods. We see the dope man. We see people going into the doctor, the pill mills. We see that. We see the alcoholics at the places that we eat when we get dressed up on Saturdays to go out. We're really a family here. And one thing Mike would tell you is that we really are. We don't get any easy cases, but we pick who we want, because this teammate that's coming in is going to be with us for the rest of their life. So we want to make sure that we don't have people in here who are not going to be able to maintain that. Understand, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to say I'm never going to do this again. That make you a psychopath. But we want the people that come in here who's going to give it their best shot every single day. And that's what we get here at Rebound.
How was it like, I tell people, I'm a 12-step guy, but I was I still am big into working out. I remember going to treatment and I was like, hey, can I go running? And they were like, no. I was like, what? And it was one of those things where we could only go running 3 days a week, and I never quite got that. But I bought in. I was all in because I needed to be. I had no other place to go. I had the gift of desperation, right? But I do talk about the camaraderie I get with guys, especially like the men's meeting. It's almost like a locker room, and it seems. Right. And you guys know better than anybody. You talk to any ex-athlete, anybody, what do they miss the most? They miss the camaraderie. They miss the guys. And a lot of times that is intoxicating in a healthy way, right? That bond. And it seems like you guys are fostering that bond among these teammates that gives us what we need to go out there and face the stuff you're talking about and do it with flying colors, right? It's about living life, man.
And AA is the only game in town. So, it is the only game in town. But you know what? We really get a chance, like Mike was saying before, to know people really well in their comfort zone when they're out of it. Like I said, we could be having this conversation here on the couch, very comfortable. Here, today we're going to go horseback riding. When you put somebody on a horse.
Dude, you say we're going horseback riding. I get I get puckered up. I'm like, I'm too big. I can't. I literally am starting to think about excuses of why I can't go on the horse.
Right. No, 100%. I'm allergic. I got this, my back, whatever. But you're getting on that horse if you're here. So, one of the things is that, and when we pick them up, because I pick up every single teammate from the airport, and then when we pick them up from the airport, they always talk the tough talk, because they're still drunk, they're still high, and I ain't worried about no skydiving, I ain't worried about this, I'm only gonna need 1 day in detox and this and that, and then they call me detox. This place, I want to really get to the outdoor adventure therapy, but they're physically not ready, Pete. So what do? We tell them, so they go, Jay, what are we doing today if I left today? What would be outdoor adventure therapy? Because that's what they're missing. And I say skydiving, and they go, okay, and they go back talk to the doctor, and they stay another 2 or 3 days and get stronger.
The tough guys.
When you pick them up, they're all that studio gangster talk.
Yeah.
So it's a fun program. It's never the same day twice. A lot of laughing, but more crying than anything. And it's a brotherhood, like camaraderie. That I say that I can't say St. John's because we're in the rebuilding phase of that. But Duke, I'm going to say is Duke-like in family style. And I learned a lot of that from Mike. And this is a great place to come get better and be a part of a family for the rest of your life.
A couple more things real quick. I just want to give you guys an opportunity to talk about when people actually do physically leave. What do you guys, obviously you keep in touch with them, the video calls, but what do you suggest that they do for a long-term recovery? Where do you guys move them towards? How does that go?
And I'll speak to, my process, Pete, and to me, aftercare is essential when you first leave here. And what we do and what they did for me was I was going back to Charlotte. They contacted a couple places that do IOP, intense outpatient. And I had something lined up. When I went back home, I still had a month or two before I actually got right back into my broadcasting and was actually seeing the game a lot more clearly than I was the prior 4 or 5 years. But I went and I got this group, and it was during COVID still, so it was over Zoom. But I did IOP and from September until February, and then had a meeting with my therapist there, and they felt like I was in a good place to just continue, to make that next step without that. But that is so critical. You don't just leave here after 30, 60, 90 days and that's it. The aftercare is massive, along with what they do here. And that, that video stuff, it's a Marco Polo thread that
Sure.
we're on. And every day, every one of us is on it, and it keeps us all accountable. And that accountability outside of here is huge.
Mike, what drew you back? I talked about it. You got options, dude. What drew you back to Rebound?
I felt, Pete, I felt my calling was to be of service. I found of Christ's supper, washing the feet of his disciples. And that story resonates with me. This is God. This is the guy. And he is doing something that slaves do.
Washing the feet, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to die the next day for us. And I wanted to be of service. And I could not think of a better place. I called Jay and Sean down here, and I said, look, I want to come and be a part on the other side of what you all do. And they were gracious enough to make that happen. And this is my second summer down here. And it's been, we talk about Jay's thought, he said he gets saved through this. I get saved doing what I'm doing here. It's been a miraculous experience.
Jay, anything else you want to say about Rebound? I mean,
it's just my passion, it's my passion. People always tell me, say, man, when are you going to come back from Florida? And I said, you want me to come back to New York in February with gray skies, snow, nothing open but bars. Here, here, there's something to do every day. Like here, if you were to lay on the couch during the day, you would feel very guilty. Here is something, and look, people say, Jay, you haven't been on vacation in 8 years. This is a vacation. I'm going scuba diving, skydiving, I'm going horseback riding today. We play racquetball. I go to the gym. I'm physically in great shape. I feel good, spiritually well. God is not good. God is awesome. Apple pie is good. We got the best staff here, best doctor, best everything. And I'm just one thing about it. There's no staff splitting. We all so close, and we really truly love helping people. And nobody comes in here and goes, Pete, all right, I'm gonna punch the clock today. I got to be somewhere at 5 o'clock. There's people here that come on their days off and bring their family here to hang out. And then we got some people that come through and they go, I'm not wearing the Rebound gear, because everybody gets Rebound gear. And they go, I don't want to wear it. And that's their option. But, after about 4 or 5 days, they go, wow, this guy's a legit. They really do care. And I'm going to be a part of this family. I'm going to represent. They throw in their Rebound gear and they're out there with us. Now they're part of the family. And that's something that's going to be with us for the rest of our life. So people always say why we're so successful down here is because we pick and choose. I can tell you right now, this was not an easy case. Well, we don't have any easy cases. What we do is we take people over positions. If you got a good heart and you want to get better and you need some motivation or you need to be humbled, I'm just a warning or an example to people. One of the two or both sometimes I'm a warning and an example to people for all the stuff that I've been through, and I would share my stories with them. And
I can't thank you enough. You just cut up on me a little bit there, but you guys, for me to be able to talk to Mike Gminski and Jayson Williams about sobriety is kind of gets me a little emotional. It's just a total gift. I thank you guys for what you're doing. Jayson, thank you so much. You're just an example. You guys both, like I said at the beginning, you guys are just oozing this thing. You're glowing, and that is.
And Pete, what do you hear right there is the airplane. We didn't bring this up. We also do takeoff and landing.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, we have a Cessna 182 down here. So Mike's now a pilot. So, not only scuba dive certified, but also a pilot and a jockey. As much as
he looks like an out of work jockey, but he's a jockey, right?
Hey, Tom Cruise got nothing on this place down here. Got a whole bunch of Mavericks floating around.
Hey, Pete. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for bringing attention to the cause, man.
Yeah.
And lifting this stigma. And thanks, man. And let's get together when you come down this way. And let's catch a St. John's game. And
I'll root for St. John's to beat the shit out of Duke any day.
It doesn't matter. We're used to being double teamed.
All right, fellas. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Grayson. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for listening to The Payoff with Pete. Once again, I'm Pete Souza. And of course, we are part of the Rogue Media Network. All kinds of good podcasts you can find at roguemedianetwork.com. And of course, you can find this podcast and all those other ones wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, other spots like that.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.
Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.